Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 7. It is called Star-Crossed, and it's designed by Heather Peterson. This is what it looks like in our confetti cotton solids, and this is what it looks like in our expressions batiks. Both look so bright and beautiful. We can't wait to see what Heather's block looks like in her fabrics, but today I'll be sewing with our confetti cottons. I've already downloaded the pattern from our Riley Blake Designs website, and I have all of my squares and rectangles cut out ready to sew. So let's get started on this block together today. I'm going to put on my glasses and put my pattern over here. I like this take on this star, and the first thing it tells you to do in the pattern is you are going to make 2 of these, and notice the placement of the red and the green, and then 2 of these. You'll notice this does not go right to the corner. So I'm going to grab my H, my G, my F, and my E square, and I'm going to mark them corner to corner like you would do a flying geese. So grab your B rectangles, and that you'll see that these do not quite go to the corner. So you're going to sew corner to corner. It's going to create this little space at the top. So let's take a look and let's make sure these are going the right way. First, we're going to start with our E square, and then we're going to start with our blue H square. We're just going to chain piece these together. So you're going to flip that back and make sure that's what you want. So we're going to take this to the machine and sew. Okay, let's cut our threads, bring it back, and before we trim down, now I always, when I'm sewing on that line, I always just err to the, maybe just a scant to the outside of the line, so when you open it up, it lines up perfectly. Just check this again, because placement is important if you want to follow the pattern. And we got our 1/4 inch plus ruler. It's so handy to trim down a 1/4 inch from our stitch line. Move that away. Let's take it to our pressing station. And I've sewn, my stitch length is about 2 1/4. Let's see what you like best. But I like sewing at 2 1/4 with cottons, 2.0 with batiks. But see what you like best on your stitch length. I just like my stitches just a little bit closer. Okay, now we're ready to add on the other side. Okay, let's take this over. We'll clip those threads real fast. Trim down. There you go. Let's take it over here and press. Oh, You're gonna have to get a little mister for that. I'm trying to hurry this along and just take your time and pressing. Okay, so we have these 2 units to match. Okay, so we're gonna put these units over here. These are extra because we already made the other 2, and then we're going to make this unit right here. And this is the Skill Builder series, and we haven't done this before, so I'm going to take you through step by step. So in the pattern, it tells you to grab your C square and your D squares. There's 2 of them. Now your C square, you're going to cut it twice, corner to corner. So we're going to cut at that angle, and then you're going to go opposite and cut this angle corner to corner. Trying not to shift that. So you're going to have 4 triangles. We're going to set those to the side, and then you've got these squares, and we're just going to cut them once. And we'll put those to the side right there. They're just slightly smaller. So now we get to take our J squares and our I squares. There's only one J square, and we're going to have, they're going to be flanked by this pretty pink's going to be flanked by 2 yellow, and then you've got this on both sides, and then you're going to take the larger triangles, and they're going to go on each side of the single yellow square, just like that. So I'm going to just chain piece these. You can kind of flip them over like this. And what's important is when you're sewing this triangle onto the square, that the corner is lined up. This right angle right here is lined up. Square to square, that's easy. We're going to flip that over like that. And again, that triangle is going to be lined up. So let's take it to the machine and sew. All right, let's take it back here. And you can choose to cut your threads or not. I'm choosing not to. Now this is what's important is the pattern is to tell you which way to press your seams. So take a look at the pattern. So when you sew them together, they're going to be nested. So now you're going to look at the pattern, and this end one, the seams are going to go towards the yellow. So you can take it to your pressing station or do a finger press. So I'm pressing it towards the yellow, and we're going to press it towards the yellow on these 2 squares right here. So they're going to go opposite. And when we sew this line together, it's going to be, they'll be perfectly nested. So then this is going towards the yellow here. And it has little arrows on the pattern. So just pay attention to that. Now I'm going to flip these over, and we're going to sew down the other side, making sure that right angle, that corner right here, is lined up perfectly. And since it's a little more fiddly, I'm just going to add a pin to the top so they stay put. Since I haven't cut my threads in between, it just becomes a little more fiddly. Okay, let's take it to the machine and sew. Okay, let's take it back here and open it up. It's looking good. Again, if you've never made a block like that, you are going to start your stitches on this single piece of fabric, and then it goes to both of the units when you're sewing down here. So it's just a little bit different where you're starting your stitches. I'm going to finger press that open, Again, they're going towards the yellow side. I'm going to finger press that there. It's going towards the yellow and then going towards the yellow. Now we're ready to sew these two seams. And since we pressed them the right way, they're going to nest beautifully. So see how well that clicks into place. We'll put a pin here and a pin here, just locking those two units together. And you can sew that, come back and pin the other side, but I'm going to pin them both right now. Whatever works for you. Okay, let's open it up and take a look. This is what we want to see. We want to see these four corners lined up. I'm going to take it to my pressing station, give it a nice press, and then I'm going to add our last four triangles to finish this center unit. Let's set those seams and we'll open it up, and it tells you to press to the outside. So we're going to open that up. This seam is going to flip to the outside. That's what the arrows are in the pattern. So we'll give it a quick press. Looking good. And now let's add our four triangles to the outside edge. Now when you're adding these, you want to make sure it's centered. And you can eyeball it, or if you're worried about it, you can always fold it like that. Oh, let's make sure we've got that lined up right. And you can finger press it, and then you are going to put, and then you can fold it over like this. Again, I usually just eyeball it. But since I'm teaching you a skill and you're new to this, you can do it this way. So you fold it, have a center mark on the triangle and a center mark on that square unit behind, and then you line it up and you throw a pin in it so it doesn't shift when you take it to the machine. And I'm just going to pin all four of these triangles on, and then I'm just going to sew around all four sides. All right, let's take it to the pressing station. Set those seams a little bit, warm them up so it's really flexible to just flip those triangles back, and it completes our square. Okay. This is what it looks like. Let's take it back here. And we don't have a 5-inch square up ruler yet. So we're going to use this Cute Cuts ruler and pull it back into the corner. So it's looking good. It might be pulled in slightly. So when that happens, I don't want to trim off much. And I didn't do a scant 1/4 inch, and I might, if I was doing this again, I might consider doing a scant 1/4 inch, but so I don't want to trim off much. I'm just doing my little kind of dog ears there. So I have just a little space outside of the line, and just again, those little dog ears. Okay. Get our scraps thrown away, and this unit is ready to go. So we're going to put it right here, and now we're going to start assembling our block. Now you'll notice that we have these corner little square units have a stitch and flip, almost a half square triangle, but it's not exactly. So we've got these little stitch and flip units, and in the pattern it tells you to do it at the very end. Now when I first assembled the block, I tried putting them on at this stage. You can choose what you want to do, but I'm going to go follow the pattern for you today, and we're going to assemble our block as it says in the pattern, and then I'm going to sew these last little units on at the very end, these last little squares. So we get our A squares right now on the outside edge. And then it's telling you to add these at the very end. I haven't done it that way before, but I'm going to try it now. Like I said, I put them on previously when I made this block right before this stage, and that worked out fine too. Okay, I'm going to sew these all together. In the pattern, it tells you to do a row at a time, but you know, sometimes I like to do my own thing, so you can do your own thing too. Okay, let's take this to the machine. We're going to sew down the side using our 1/4 inch seam allowance. Lay this out, flip this over, and I like to give it a pin. And I don't cut my threads in between. And if you want to see your point here, I'm just going to flip it this way and sew from a different direction. Okay, let's pull this out, take a look. It's looking good. Let's sew our seams. And the pattern tells you to flip the center little block unit to the inside. And we are almost flying geese to the outside. So those seams will nest beautifully right there. That's going to flip in. I just choose to finger press them right now. Flip this to the other side. That's going to go in, and this is going to go to the outside. Okay, let's go sew these 2 seams. All right, let's take it to our pressing station. Open it up. This is what we want to see. We want to see our points all there, but not cut off. And give it press like that. Open it up. So this would be a beautiful block as is, but we're not quite done. We're going to add a little more color, a little more flair. But the next thing you need to do before we add those last squares is square up this block. So we get out our square up ruler and just line everything up. And it looks pretty good. I'm just seeing if we need to trim off anything. Just a few little hairs. Okay, looks good. Then follow your pattern, and we need to grab our KLMN squares, and you should have already marked them in the very beginning. It tells you to mark all your units, so pay attention to that. Now you just need to put them on the 4 corners, and this is why you can do it at the end, because this is a smaller square than these corner squares. So just be mindful of placement. You can grab your pins and just pin them in place, and you're just going to sew corner to corner on your marked line. Looks like we got K up here. Okay, let's take it to the machine and sew all our 4 corners. All right, let's take it back. Look at your pattern again. Make sure they're all in the right spot. And now we're going to use our 1/4 inch ruler to trim down. Let's take it to our pressing station and do one last press. And open those up. And your quilt block should be finished. You can choose to square it up again if some of your corner units look a little larger than they should be, but they should be pretty lined up, and I think it's good to go. So we are so glad you're sewing along with us. I hope you learned a few new skills, something we haven't done before, like putting the blocks on the end. But join us next time for our next block called Glisten, and it's designed by Jill Finley.